There we go.
Time
to go to work.
It's time to work, boys. Get your working boots on. I'm in sock
Boots
feet.
on.
I'm not in boots at all. Sock foot.
I'm barefoot.
I'm barefoot.
Wow. Okay, I'm getting
Yeah.
barefoot real quick.
Talons out.
Yeah.
Get the talons
Haven't
out.
cut my nails for 3 years.
Scratch the floor up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we
You
are
gotta get
fucking pretty much experts. And we're
We're barefoot.
barefoot, pretty much experts. I'm Robert John. I'm still in Romania. I've been here way too long, but it's fun. And this is my brother Mike
Hi there.
and my brother Skylar.
Hey everybody.
And before we get into it, Mike's in a new world as well. He's changed the studio up on us.
I have, yeah. Yeah, living in the big city. In the van. In my van.
In the mobile recording unit.
Yeah, it's been fucking awesome. It's been a good week.
Yeah.
A week so
It's
far.
like you're our beat reporter now.
Yeah, the beat on the street.
Yeah, coming straight from the coup.
Straight from the McDonald's
Coup.
parking lot.
That's what they call it, the kids.
Okay, I'll start calling it the coup.
The
Yeah,
coup.
yeah,
Coup City.
yeah. The coup city, baby. Coup City. Yeah, I'm here. I'm living here. This is what I'm doing now.
So you're gonna
And
tough out the winter in Coup City, McDonald's parking lot.
well, I don't really want to stay in the McDonald's parking lot, but no, I'll be hunkering down with friends from time to time, and possibly bopping over the island and going further south if it gets too cold into the California mist. Yeah, hitting
Going
the old
California way.
Just skip
dusty California
Oregon.
way. I might take my time and travel through Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of like free balling right now or whatever, freewheeling.
Freewheeling.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm also
Nice.
not wearing underwear, so I guess it is. I'm
Yeah.
free balling as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a good week. I mean, I don't really see it slowing down too much. It's been pretty chill. There's shows coming up. There's a cool Christmas market coming up, and there's still people to see. Everything's fresh and new. I'm like a newborn baby in the coup. It's sweet. It's really sweet. Yeah.
So speaking of Christmas, this
Speaking of the
episode we
coup.
wanted to take the viewers and the listeners back to December 1994. December 1994 and the release of the Sony Playstation.
Wow.
It's
It
been
was 94.
94.
Wow.
24 years
Wow.
today, I think.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds made up.
It's not. It's mostly
25 years ago today.
Tw-
Actually,
it came out December 4th, 1994.
Okay,
Wow.
well,
Yeah.
Jesus.
So
So close enough.
we wanted
When do you
to
guys hear this?
reminisce about the PlayStation and how that pretty much changed video games and all that crap. And Christmas
Our
wouldn't be the
beloved
same
childhood
without
memories.
a shiny PlayStation game under the tree every year.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wouldn't be the same. PlayStation 1 through 5.
I
I guess
never.
there's only 4, but
I don't think I ever had a PlayStation past
Jumping the
one.
gun.
I went Xbox right after.
Yeah, I was never a
I had up
PlayStation
to 3.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You had a 2 also, didn't you?
Yeah, I had 2 and 3.
2 and 3, yeah.
1,
Yeah.
2, and 3.
1, 2, and
Yeah.
3.
And for a
Fanboy.
while, if I'm not mistaken, they were like, I'm pretty sure they were backwards compatible.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think number 2 you could. I remember playing Tony Hawk on number 2, but I don't know if it was the newest Tony Hawk or if it was the old one.
Yeah.
That was the appeal at the time.
That
Yeah.
was number 3. I think was the first one on the next gen console.
Number 3 was
Okay.
also the last game I had on PlayStation 1.
Yeah,
Skylar.
Yeah.
but remember it was like totally
It
different.
was a totally
and, like,
different game. Yeah, by a different
Yeah,
developer.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, might be making this up, but I think it's also the same company that made those, like, off-brand Call of Duty games, Treyarch. I think they made Tony Hawk 3.
Yeah. Or the
Oh, okay.
PlayStation
For
1.
PlayStation 1.
Yeah, but Neversoft was still
Neversoft
doing
did
it
the, like, PlayStation 2 version. And they
Yeah.
kept going all the way
Which-
till it died.
Which I remember that was like a sad moment in my childhood where like I understood that it wasn't going to be the same game graphically, but it was like such a letdown, like level wise, gameplay wise. It was just like, oh man, like.
You mean Tony 3?
And then, yeah, I was actually like me and the roommate the other night were playing Super Mario All Stars
Okay.
for the Super Nintendo. This is a little off topic, but like Mike was saying with the backwards compatibility, there's the new like resurgence in like these like PlayStation Switch, I think, is the new one that you can buy, and
the
you
handheld
can
one.
play. Yeah, and like I think you can play older games, or they just re-released I think a Super Nintendo as like you know, you can buy, it's like a newer version of Super Nintendo just so you can play your old games. And I'm surprised that there isn't like a market there where it's like, I get that you can do whatever you want on the PlayStations and then, you know, and the Xbox.
Yeah.
But why not just like, here's the limited technology that you have to continue to make games on the old Super Nintendo still.
And make new
yeah.
games for these old systems.
That'd be pretty cool.
Fuck,
Yeah.
that'd be rad,
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Or like
and just
adapt
push
some
it-
newer games and make them old
Yeah.
kind of, like within that technology scope, yeah. Be
I
pretty
think
rad.
that would be cool. Like, if the next Super Mario game that they make, you know, is just a Super Mario game that is for the old Super Nintendo.
Put it
I
out
think
on a
that would be
cartridge
such
and just be super retro
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Like Super Mario 28
Fuck.
is just
That's a
gonna
good
be
idea.
out on this
You should
one
phone
exclusive.
that
You
one
know what I
in.
mean?
Phone that job in.
You know how they always do that?
Yeah.
Like Super Mario Galaxy was like the launch title or whatever for the GameCube. No, maybe it wasn't, but that was the Super Mario game that came out on the GameCube. Super Mario 64 was the one that came out on 64.
See.
Oh,
Now, I
okay.
know that these all came out chronologically because the new systems were out, but what if the new system that they just put out, if the revamped retro system, it's like, hey, here's the revamp, but also Super Mario 28 is going to be
it's
out
a
on
new
this
2-bit Mario game or 8-bit game
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
all
pretty
fucked
rad
up
idea.
again. I think that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Call me
And then
Nintendo.
it would push the sales of those retro systems a little better too, right? If they had new games coming out on them.
I thought I saw
People
some
would
like
buy it.
wild figure that the used game market is still like competitive to the new market, like the new one. Just in like reselling of Sega Genesis games. Like all those retro
For
stores
sure.
are still in business, and things like GameSpot are fucking going out of business. Because
Oh yeah.
all the new games you just download like over the internet, like you don't need to go to the store
Yeah.
anymore. So you don't need a GameSpot. I went into one fairly recently, maybe within the last year, because I was looking for like a PlayStation 3 controller to use on my Mac. And the whole store was just toys. It's like HMV before HMV, died. Or Sunrise
Oh, yeah.
Records. Like, it's all just merchandise. It's like t-shirts and toys and knickknacks, and video games are just on the walls, and the whole middle of the store is like garbage.
Merch.
Funkos.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is
fuck
the,
those
like,
things are.
siren song of this company is dying. Like, no one's buying games.
I feel like you always see
Yeah,
those
shit.
like, I see those things on Facebook all the time that are like it's total clickbait, but it's like reasons not to go to EB Games,
Yeah.
and it just kind of talks about how basically what you're saying. It's like the used game market is almost like, I would say like 60% of their profit,
Yeah.
opposed to like when a new game comes out, like Red Dead just came out and everybody wants to go and buy it, it's one thing, but then there's like that lull between that and the next Call of Duty or the next Grand Theft Auto or the next Mario Kart, right? So
Yeah.
it's like what gets sold in between that time is the used games where they make majority of their money, and and it's you selling your games to them and them giving you like dirt low ball prices
pennies
and
on
then
the dollar.
selling it for triple to somebody else, right? Like,
Yeah.
so fucking
Well, I
dirty
understand the
EB.
appeal. I
Yeah.
understand the appeal of downloading your game. I mean, for people who are like there's a big demographic of people who are obsessed with video games, like who that's it. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's their biggest hobby. That's what they do. So it's like you don't even have to unstrap the feed bag. You can just, you know,
Yeah.
keep the shit bucket under your chair and keep the feed bag hooked up and you know,
Just
click
move the
here,
whole-
click there, download, and you don't even have to,
Move the
about it.
whole like console and TV into the washroom and
Oh,
just
that's
sit
the
there
dream.
in your ass
That's
down
the
the
dream.
toilet.
Or just cut a hole in the bed or the couch, just shit through
Yeah.
the onto the
a
floor.
hole in your bed.
Dump on the floor. One of the
I think
last
there's a market
games,
there. If you made
Couple
if you
days
made
before the
gaming
new
chairs.
game.
gaming
Couple
chair.
days before.
Gaming
couple
chair.
days
Yeah,
before the
get
new
into the
game
gaming
comes
chair
out.
market.
Just buy a fucking old used mattress and know that you're gonna soil the fuck out of it. Like when the
Yeah.
game is beat, you'll throw out the mattress. Fucking
Go to
burn it.
go to fucking Kmart and load up on sweatpants.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
$5 sweatpants.
Disposable sweatpants.
Yeah,
Tuck 'em into
just
your
tearaways, just rip
Yeah.
off.
I was gonna say one of the last games I played was the newer. I think it's still the newest Hitman game, and it was just a download only game.
Only. Oh
And
yeah.
you
Yeah.
downloaded it like a la carte, like by the level, and it was fucking
Yeah.
sick. It was like
Yeah, I
maybe
played-
like
I
$9
kinda
a
played the
level or
demo.
something, and it's just like I love Hitman games. They're so fun. There's so much
They were
replayability,
fun, yeah.
and then you get
Yeah.
a level and it has like 30 different achievements or something. So like, oh, there's like a billion ways to beat this level, like finding all the different costumes and shit. So you could spend
yeah.
like a month on a level, like doing it every possible way. And then when you're like, okay, now to the next one. Cough up another
Interesting.
$8 or $9, get a new level.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I probably only spent like $30. Like I only played, I think I only played 2 levels, and that lasted me a couple months. And by then I was sick of the game and didn't have to spend a full $80, but like still supported the industry and all down, like no
Yeah, yeah.
hard copy, nothing. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty sick.
Well, even like
And I think that's gonna
I
make
have that
people
game
purchase.
on PlayStation now, and I feel like I still get updates that it's like, not that I just downloaded the demo,
Right.
and this is like the demo, so you get like 2 levels,
Yeah.
and they still are just like, hey, there's new updates, like go and check it, and it's basically just
On
like
those
a
old
new
levels, yeah.
scenario within that level to
Yeah.
kill
Yeah.
somebody else wearing a different shoe.
It's pretty.
Basically,
It kind of has like
thing,
the
right?
Tony
Like,
Hawk Pro Skater like built-in part. Like fans can create like ways, like kill this girl by the piano and escape using only one costume within 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
like you have to do it to prove that it's possible, and then you just put the challenge up on the like whatever. And it's like that's fucking
Yeah.
sweet. Like it's all like
pretty
user
sweet,
created.
yeah.
There is like by the actual game, like do this, but there's that whole that's the multiplayer component. It's not just they
Yeah.
like other games just tack on multiplayer and it fucking sucks. Like you're just running around shooting each other and you don't care. Like the
Yeah.
multiplayer on that Hitman game is just like fan made up scenarios. Like kill this chick by the piano, kill that guy at the top of the staircase. No bodies found. Change the costume once. One kill has to be with this weapon. Use a crowbar on one person. And then it's
That's
like
an interesting idea,
fucking
and
cool.
also it's going to support like more. I feel like it's going to support more purchases in the long run, because you're not necessarily inclined to go out and buy this game or that game.
yeah.
But if you can just like again, it's easy. You can just click and download a level, and it gives you all these alternatives. I mean, there's some incentive right there. Like even just to download makes sense because it's like almost like it's less thought. You don't
Yeah.
have to go to the store and browse and be like, well, I'd rather this, but you're just on your console and just like, fuck it, whatever. It's only $15. I'll give
And
it a
just
try.
the waste
But
of all
it's-
that shit. Because I remember the last
What you
few
s-
years. Sorry, one
Like
thing.
packaging
Skylar.
and shit.
And you put the game in, and then the game downloads to the hard drive, and then you don't need
It
the game.
takes
You
just
don't need the
long.
disc anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, why did I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
buy all this shit? Like,
yeah.
once
Yeah,
it
true.
downloads,
Oh, to get the cool
all
map.
the garbage.
yeah, it all
But,
goes in
like-
the garbage.
The problem though, what you were talking about, Mike, that's not the problem, but like there is like this weird thing that it's coming to light now of just how it's like a form of gambling almost, and
Oh, yeah.
people
With online?
spending. Yeah, like where there, I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of like there was this one game like Simpsons Tapped Out where it's like a free game that you get
Yeah.
on your phone, but then you can spend real dollars in the game afterwards to get different things. Like you basically just built your own Simpsons city. Like it was like a Sim
Yeah.
City,
Yeah.
but with like Simpsons characters and stuff. And but if you wanted Otto's school bus, you could spend $5 real dollars and get
Yeah.
the school bus in the game, which would generate X amount of Simpson dollars that you could then use in game to do stuff, right? But that if you go like, you know, but then there's some people that it's like, I don't know, they're like, you know, lines blurred lines, like they don't realize they're spending real dollars, that it's like, you know, this weird, like you're spending money that you don't actually have. And kids really too, like that will have access to their parents' credit cards and stuff. Just like, it's like those like horror stories you hear of people using their phones on holidays and having to spend $3,000 on a phone bill.
Totally.
It's just
It
that
racks up
like
quick,
kids
and
not
like people with
realizing,
addictive,
and it is this like
people with addictive natures and stuff.
I've read stories about like governments like America and the States and the UK looking into things about how like to monitor that type of gaming, because it is like one of the games I can't remember what game it was, but they actually like shut down and stopped doing it because they realized that like majority of their money profit wise were coming from the same users across the board, like
Right.
Oh wow.
just basically like it's the same people that clearly have a video game addiction and we're just exploiting it, taking that money. So they shut down the servers and stuff.
Back on the other side of that,
It's
though,
like Half-Life or something.
yeah. Back on the other side of that, though, like video games are super expensive to create and produce, like a big game. So, like, that's why, you know, you hear, like, all these people ragging on the industry, like, it's just a Call of Duty every year. Like, there's just big games. There's not cool games anymore. It's just, like, franchises. Because these companies are going to spend, like, hundreds of millions of dollars, take 2 years to make a game, and then if it comes out and nobody gives a shit, like, your company goes out of business. There's no backup plan. So, back to, like, the way they Squaresoft, I think that's what they're called, whatever, that does the Hitman game level at a time. Like, I think that's a more like the ratio is more slower and low, like 1 to 2 maybe, of like there's still money coming in every month. We should do level 7 now, instead of us spending 2 years and making 15 levels and then nobody buys the game. It's like, let's build 3 levels. If there's a big response, we'll do level 4. Everyone gets 4, we'll give them 2 months, and then put out 5. Like, I just think that's a more, like, safer, economical way to do something for a game that's not fucking Call of Duty.
Yeah, and
or
it like,
Red
buys
Dead
them a little
Redemption.
time, too.
Yeah.
And also, they can adapt, like, people's... like, let's say there's, you know... They have faults with the game, or someone has an issue with this or that, they can adapt to that as they go just as well. So yeah, economically it makes sense.
It makes more sense. But yeah, it could be exploited in those like shitty Candy Crush ways of just
with the free
games. It's a free game, but it costs you $1 every day to get an expansion pack or something, and it doesn't seem it's like, oh, it's only 35 cents to get this thing, but you do that every day for 2 months and you realize that you're just wasting your money.
Yeah.
See, I remember I got a friend that like has.
Give us some initials. Name names.
No, I like that. Just like I've heard it where it's like their kids are just like want the expansion pack.
Yeah.
And it's like no, like you're not buying it, and it's just that, you know, like kid in the candy store, like I want it though, like
get a fucking paper route.
Yeah, and it's just that like. I think too, it's just even like it's easily accessible. You know what I mean? Like, I know this is like it'd be different with kids, but like I have my credit card all like preloaded into my PlayStation and stuff now, right? That you're just like, if I wanted to buy something, I would just click yes and put in a code.
Yeah,
that isn't 1111.
Mine's 6969.
Yeah, it's funny.
Anytime Yeah, right. Me too.
Yeah,
Anytime it's
dude.
any 4-digit code 6969.
It's funny, like,
My
we're just
entire
ragging on kids for being stupid, but, like, I was also that stupid-ass kid. I remember
As a kid,
Oh, yeah.
being,
sure,
like,
yeah.
in the 90s, and, like, me and Skylar got our first, like, cool PC in the mid-90s. Like, before that, we had, like, a garbage, like, didn't have any games on it or anything. But then maybe around, like,
It's like
99, 2000, we got a cool computer that could, like, run NHL 2000 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Had
And-
Windows XP.
Yeah, Windows, like,
Yeah.
whatever.
You know?
And we were at the, like, Zeller's electronics department, and, like, oh, let's get the Sims. Like, we heard so much about the Sims. Like, that's the game of 1999. And
Yeah.
it's like the Sims is like $80, and then beside it is Sims House Party for $19.99. And it's like, fuck it, let's get House Party. It's way cheaper. Like, having no
It's
concept of, like,
$80.
expansion packs, and, like, this only works if you have the original
The
version.
game.
Yeah, and we,
Yeah.
like, go home and fire up Sims House Party, and it's like, you know, like, on your screen, like, dude, you don't have the fucking game at all. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, having to realize, oh, now we have to go back and buy the $80 version, and we already bought this $25 version. So now we're in,
Yeah.
like, over $100
Expansion.
on, like, a whim. Like, I heard this game was good. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
So you guys
It was a
failed
great
that grade.
game, though.
oh,
you
that
guys
game was
failed-
fucking great.
You failed that
Yeah.
grade or what?
Failed the grade. What do
Which
you mean?
gra-
Yeah. Just stayed home making use of that money.
Yeah.
I think that's Skylar was the one that failed the most grades out of the two of us.
Barely. Yeah.
Don't even say barely.
Yeah, it's true. Whatever.
I remember all of, like, grade 9, like, you wouldn't, like, talk about school, and Dad would, like, be like, bring home your report card, and you'd just be like, I just plain forgot, like, every day.
I just forgot. Yeah.
That
Forgot
excuse, like, I just plain forgot. I forgot
I left
to
it
read.
on the bus.
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
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 Everyone
that.
was wise to you, but you just wouldn't admit it. Like, I just plain
Yeah.
forgot to bring home my report card.
It was great. It was before the internet.
Yeah.
There was no, like, you know.
No cell phones either, so they had to, like,
No
leave a
cell
message
phone,
at your
yeah.
house. Yeah.
Yeah. We'd just get home and delete it. You know.
Yeah,
or-
totally, totally.
No, not today.
Anyway,
Fucking
let's get
Mr.
back to
Saunders.
topic at hand. 23,
PlayStation.
24 years of PlayStation. And I don't know, I looked into, I'm a
That's a lot of
super,
years.
like, history video game nerd, and I wanted to know if you guys knew the story of how the PlayStation was created. Like,
No.
do you guys know the
Uh,
original name? The Nintendo
No.
PlayStation?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
Pretty wild. So the story is, like, Sony existed for like 50 years or so. Like, they formed after World War II, I think. Made, like, TVs and shit like that. Got into VCRs, and the Walkman was their big fucking breakout.
Huge.
Huge. The Walkman changed
Yeah.
everything. Like, you
Yep.
could just walk around with music in your headphones. Nothing
Yeah.
like that existed before that. And then Nintendo came to them in
tape
the
recorder.
like late 80s and was like, our big rival Sega is developing this thing called the Sega CD that's going to come out in like 1993. They have like a couple years development, but we want to beat them to the chase kind of deal.
Yeah.
And like CD based graphics, like using the fucking light, the optical reader, like it just created like so much more memory and speed that you can't do with a cartridge. So the original plan was Sony was going to work with Nintendo, and there would be like a Super Nintendo disc add-on, the same way Sega CD like connected to the Genesis.
Okay.
And you'd be able to like run a disc drive attached to your Super Nintendo. So they spent a bunch of years, like 3 or so years, developing this like Nintendo PlayStation. And then somewhere in the contract, like Nintendo signed in the late 80s, it said that like Nintendo will publish and produce, publish and distribute everything but the intellectual property and all the hardware development and trademarks all still belong to Sony. Like, Sony's not giving up the secret to how a CD works. Like, you have to kind of think back to the 1980s, and like CDs were still like a hot fucking ticket.
Oh, for sure.
So Sony didn't want to give that up, and Nintendo was like, yeah, that's fine, we don't care. But then when they started to see what the games were capable of in the early 90s, like all the tech demos, like Nintendo started to kind of freak out, and we're just like, oh shit, like this is so good, and we don't have any rights to anything. We don't have any ability to make Super Nintendo 2 or anything like that. Like, if this comes out and it's a hit, we're like over the barrel that Sony is controlling everything. So at the like computer electronics show, they still do that every year. It's called CES. I think it's in like May or whatever. It's kind of like an E3, whatever. Sony had like a big booth they spent a bunch of money on, and they like launched the Nintendo, what did I call it? Nintendo PlayStation. They had a big booth, and they had the tech demo and all this shit. And at the same electronics show, Nintendo released their like prototype, and they like did this back alley deal with Philips to have like a Philips CD drive instead, because Philips would give them all the like hardware and be like, oh, this is how we do it. Like, we'll just sell you the, the technology. You figure it out. So it like super embarrassed the PlayStation guys, like the Sony dudes. And it was like this weird, like fucking Japanese honor bullshit.
Oh, you
like,
can't disgrace them.
And Nintendo's Japanese and Sony's Japanese. No. So it was just like a big samurai dick swinging contest.
Wow.
Like Sony was
over honor.
Yeah, it was over honor. And like
over
Sony
honor.
was just so embarrassed at this like trade show. Cause they're like,
you have no honor, Nintendo.
Nintendo fucking betrayed them. They partnered with Philips.
It's like I could see the anime version of this movie. You know?
Yeah.
A lot of mouth moving, a lot of big eyes.
Decapitations.
Yeah.
Just like really little shitty bows, but no honor is given back and forth, no respect.
Yeah.
No.
So
just
then
at each other.
It
so
pretty
like
much
Sony shot up the place or what?
Sony just like was super embarrassed, and they left, and they like licked their wounds, and we're kind of like, fuck it, we've done like 4 years of development, like we have this thing that pretty much runs on its own, and you just plug it into the Super Nintendo for like power. And the only thing that Nintendo was providing was like the license for their games, like we could have Mario and shit.
Oh yeah.
So they're just like, we'll reach out to all Japanese developers like Konami and Capcom and all those people, and just license games through them. And we'll get Resident Evil, we'll get Final Fantasy, we'll get like all those other company games that are just not Nintendo trademarks.
Oh yeah.
And then the fucking Super Nintendo disc add-on just failed because Philips sucks, I guess.
Like, I never even heard of it.
Yeah, it never came out. It was never released.
No.
But
or like the Sega one too. Never heard of that.
Sega CD? You didn't fuck with Sega CD?
I remember Sega CD, yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, Sega CD was like a shitty add-on that maybe had like 50 games, and then the next generation was like Sega Saturn. It was like the next console was just CD.
Oh yeah, I think I went from Sega right to PlayStation. I never, nothing in the middle there. But Sega Saturn, I remember Sega Saturn being like a hit.
We had a Sega Saturn. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was the first like...
It sucked.
Did it have like a little screen on the controller or something?
No, that's
that was Dreamcast.
That came after.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Sega Saturn was okay. It was just like... Those early 3D games were just so basic. Like, there was no texture on anything. It was just, like, Virtual Fighter was cool because it was, like, 3D fighters, like Mortal Kombat, but you could move the camera all around. But, like, there's no background or anything to my memory.
No. And it was just totally, like, I don't know what they call it. Are they called polygons? That, like, whatever polygons they use to make up the characters, they then just, like, colored. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't
That's what I
done
mean. Like,
very
there's no
good at all.
texture
Like,
mapping or
yeah.
anything. It was just like
Yeah.
basic 3D polygon figures. But then PlayStation, on the other hand, like changed everything with 3D games, with really cool graphics, and the thing I remember the most was the like commercials and advertising campaign in the 90s. Like there's that Crash Bandicoot would walk around with the megaphone and just scream.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Fucking
yeah.
cool as shit.
Jet Moto.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that's kind of the answer to Mario, and like I guess in an exaggerated sense, is games like Crash Bandicoot or
Definitely Crash.
There was a game that came with the PlayStation that I swear I fucking played for 6 months before I was given any other game. It was like a demo disc, and then Spyro the Dragon.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that game was like the Mario. It was like the PlayStation Mario, right?
Yeah.
A little more, I don't know, a little more kiddie, but
It was fun. I feel like those demos,
idea.
the PlayStation demos, are super underrated. Like we talked about the Punk-Rama albums last month and how that changed us
Fuck
as
yeah.
12-year-olds. PlayStation demos
Yeah.
were the same deal. Like I was so stoked to buy
Like
the stupid
Metal Gear
PlayStation
Solid,
magazine
like
every
one
month.
level of
Yeah.
and get your demo.
Get
or
your
get
demo?
Your, the racing one, whatever that big one was.
Yeah, I remember trading demos at elementary school. Like, oh, I have demo November 1999. Like, what do you got?
Yeah.
And, trade demos
Yeah,
for a
totally.
couple weeks. Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Play
that
some
was rad.
Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah.
The original Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it really
That's
was.
a throwback.
Crack the egg into the bowl.
Well, I'm so surprised you remember that. That's wild.
Oh, I remember. I also remember there used to be a commercial for like a Jet Moto, like 3 or something stupid, where it was like everybody's on the line getting ready to take off on their hover bikes, and the one guy doesn't take off. And then, like, he's, like, looking around and just, like, what? Like, freaks out, and basically it, like, cuts back to, like, this old woman playing the game, and she doesn't know how to do it, so, like, the character doesn't move. And he's freaking out on her, and then, like, the last thing he says is something along the lines of, like, and turn the blinker off! Because, like, she was old and left the blinker on.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
They were sweet commercials. I remember there was, like, a spy game called, like, Siphon Filter that also had some pretty sweet commercials.
Yeah.
The game was cool. It was kind of like a precursor to like a Tom Clancy, like Rainbow Six. I guess like Metal Gear, same deal. Like shooter, but you sneak around a bunch.
Yeah.
And the commercials were cool as shit. Like really like breaking the fourth wall. Like the characters just talking to the audience. Like, oh, I'm going to shoot all these guys and I'm going to do this. And I saw some interview.
I don't know.
I saw this interview with one of the marketing geniuses. I don't know what you call them. Head marketing dudes for the original PlayStation. Head marketing genius. And he said that everything for the PlayStation was geared toward a 19-year-old. And usually when a game, something like this comes out, like they do demographics, like, oh, this is 14 to 45 or 18 to 25. Like they put these big like windows of like we have to appeal to these people.
Yeah,
but
this is our key.
This dude was like, fuck that key demographic stuff. We're only going for 19-year-olds. And his reasoning was like if you're 12 years old, you're going to think 19-year-olds are cool. So whatever 19-year-old is, you want to do it. And then if you're 35, like 35, you think 19-year-olds like I want to be hip and cool. So instead
that day and age,
instead of trying to like get some kiddie shit, get some older stuff, and the teenager thing, it was like fuck that, 19 only. We're gonna do like the Jet Moto thing, make fun of old ladies that can't drive. Like we're not gonna be sensitive to. Oh, we got to make sure that there's like a 30-year-old in this commercial that's like represented on the couch or something. Like none of that. Like it's only for teenagers. And like,
well, I feel like it's like that was just the '90s in general between like Nirvana, and DX, and you know what I mean. It was like the counterculture of just like what is cool is to be like
shithead.
Yeah, right. And that was PlayStation. Over at the time, you had Nintendo, and Sega was kind of in that realm, right? Like Sonic had a cool mohawk and stole rings.
Sega started that for sure.
you know.
But by the late 90s, Sega was dead.
Yeah, Sega Genesis was decent, but I don't, like, even then, I don't know. Like, I feel like looking back on it in my life, like, we had a Sega Genesis and I really liked it, but it was like nobody had a Sega Genesis. Like, nobody thought that was cool.
Right.
You know.
I had one. I love that. Yeah, that console.
But that's just I think we were just such a small minority that even like it was decent, but then it never made the jump.
Nintendo. They all had a Super Nintendo, right?
Nintendo's still around, and I feel like PlayStation started later than Sega. Yeah. But they obviously changed the game literally from the cartridge to the disc.
Well, I still played my Sega for probably the first year that I owned a PlayStation because I didn't have any fucking games. I had like the demos. It was just demos, and I might have had one game that I wasn't really into. I can't remember. But I can remember like getting the PlayStation, let's say for Christmas. It probably was. I can't actually recall if it was Christmas or not, but let's say I got it for Christmas. Being so stoked, and then the appeal wearing off within like a couple weeks because it was like, this is it for now. Yeah. Like I knew that there was opportunities for me to get games like moving forward, but for months it was just like the demos. Just like you said, buy the PlayStation magazine, get the demo, and that's what I did. So I was still playing my Sega, and I actually can remember one of the last times I got grounded. My mom was giving me shit, and she's like, "Go to your room." And I'm like, "Oh, my room? Like where all my cool shit is?" And then she's like, "Yeah, go to your room." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go to my room." And and like plenty of times in the past, like I'd go to my room and start playing my Sega, and she'd come in and like rip it off the fucking desk that I had, bring it into her room, and I'd, kick and scream and until she made me go outside, basically. Like, "Hey, you're not grounded anymore, just get the fuck out of the house." And I can remember vividly, like, super gluing my Sega to my desk. Like going up to my room, spending like 15 minutes gluing my Sega to my desk because I was like, she's going to come in. As soon as she hears this, she's going to come in and she's going to try and rip it off the desk and it's going to be glued. It's going to be awesome. So I fucking did it. And I'm like, I got road rash fucking pumping. I'm like, woo, just fucking like hooting and hollering.
Swinging your chain.
Way louder than necessary so she comes up.
Way louder. Yeah, like excessively loud. Like, what
Door
is going
open,
on in
full
here?
volume.
Yeah. And she was trying to rip this fucking thing off my desk. Trying. Finally, she's like, "Art!" Like called my dad to come up, but by the time he got upstairs, she had managed to rip it off, and there was a chunk of my desk still to this day. To this day, I have that console like buried in my parents' basement. There's still a chunk of my desk glued to the bottom of it.
What an
where
angel.
She ripped it
what
off.
An angel.
Oh yeah, just a sweet little baby angel.
Showed her.
I thought it was fucking hilarious. It was so
That's
fucking
great.
hilarious. Yeah. Got that bitch.
Never cross me again.
Yeah.
I remember one of my me and Skylar were pretty late to PlayStation. Like I don't think we got it until like 99. And one of my holdups was like I fucking hate the loading times. Like I just can't do the loading. Like N64 is fucking sick. Those games are all fun and there's no loading. And maybe that was just that like demographic-y shit. Like we're still like 10 or 11. Like the cool graphics and the fucking music and all that like didn't really matter.
Not yet, yeah.
I didn't care yet. But then as I got like closer to high school age, it's like, oh, PlayStation's actually pretty sick. Like Cool Borders is fucking sweet. I want to play that game.
Yeah, that was good.
And me and Skylar had a buddy that had a PlayStation, and he would only come to like town like once a month, and he'd like stay at his grandma's house. And he didn't have a memory card or fucking anything. So we would just go to his house for the weekend and just not turn the PlayStation off for like 3 days. Just like
the memory card.
It was like deal. The first like memory card thing, and like he didn't have one, so it's like, okay, we're gonna go to Jumbo Video, rent a game, like Resident Evil 2 or something, and we're just not gonna turn the system off for 3 days. Yeah, we're gonna like take turns sleeping or some shit. And
keep watch,
but like the system can't turn off. We don't have a memory card. No. And those were like some of the best fucking times. Like just spending.
That was like a weekend,
just eating pizza, drinking Pepsi.
Totally.
Grandma would be upstairs yelling at us to go outside, and This kid was pretty mouthy. You just tell her to fuck off all the time, and we thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And then
like,
he
do you
moved
guys
away,
remember-
and you became friends with me.
Yeah.
he
Also
he was
the
like
same-
our
yeah, same
younger
person.
friend, and he'd moved away when we were young, so he'd only come back like once a month. So
I think I know who you're talking
yeah,
about.
he was already moved away.
Yeah.
But do you guys remember, like, when I remember what turned me off of the PlayStation right away, instantly, was the, like, I feel like it was probably just easier for them to do, but a lot of the games, like, for instance, when Goldeneye came out on the N64, and it was, like, a hit.
Yeah.
But then the next one, like, Tomorrow Never Dies, whatever the fuck it was, came out on the PlayStation, and they used to do that thing where they would just like port actual scenes from the movie into the game, and that was like the cutscene or whatever. The lead up to the level would be like a cutscene from the movie of like James Bond at like a poker table, like shaken not stirred. You know, like, and then you would go into the game. And I remember I used to fucking hate that. And, like, Red Alert used to do that. Like, those games, the Command and Conquer, where it would just, like... I felt like it took me right out of it, where I would just be watching. Because it's, like...
Tony Hawk would do that when you beat the game with a skater.
You get the video.
That was different.
Video,
I feel like that was different, though. Because, like... Yeah, like if you're a skateboarding fan, though, like that's and you know that you're playing as, you know, your favorite skateboarder, steamer,
Bob Burnquist
and
or whatever.
Just you want to see steamers kick flips off the 2-set.
Wow.
You know? 2-set.
Can't wait.
Wow.
Can't wait for that.
Wow.
Saved her for last.
Wow. I remember in fucking Tony Hawk 3, she had like one of the hardest challenges. She had to like fucking manual down the switchbacks on Alcatraz, and I'm like, this is some fucking rib, you know, some bullshit. Like, you get the shittiest skater in the game to do the hardest goddamn challenge. To hold the manual for like 3 minutes. Like, it's fucking bullshit.
Fuck that, and she was in like every game. I don't know, whatever. I'm sure she's a great skateboarder.
She's still actually pro. She still skates for Baker.
Oh yeah, cool. Huh.
But
she was my favorite.
Fucking rude. 2-set kickflip.
Kickflip down a 2-set.
That was that like those games were sick, right? But I just mean there was like other ones where like this is a weird thing. But when I like video games, when I play video games, I like to know that I'm playing said video game.
What do you mean?
You know, like right now I'm dick deep in fucking Red Dead Redemption 2, and it's like,
of course,
as beautiful of a game as it is, it's like, you know, it's still a video game though. It's like try to make it look as real as possible, but also be aware that you're in this, like, the style that you're doing it is a video game. I just hate that, like, clicking between, like, oh, now here's like the actor we hired to play Arthur Morgan. And you're just supposed to think that's him. It's like Clint Eastwood or, you know, just like mouth closed, talking like this all the time. Stephen Avery, you know, like,
Kathleen Rittner or whatever her name is.
You know, like Western cowboy style.
Yeah, throwback to Stephen Avery episode.
Yeah, but I remember that was what turned me off of the PlayStation for a very long time. And I feel like, again, that was just the early days where it was probably easier for them to do that than it was to render, you know, full doing what they do now.
Yeah, cutscenes.
Easier and also like swinging the dick out a little bit, because like Nintendo couldn't do that at all. So it's like, not only can we do cutscenes, but we're gonna do like full video and audio.
Yeah, really crappy.
So we're gonna like highlight our expertise over your
I get
abilities.
it too, where it's like, hey, like,
but
in Mario, you're gonna see that weird like creature Mario not move his mouth and just kind of react, and you're gonna have to read it. Where on ARG system, you're gonna see Pierce Brosnan acting as James Bond, like, oh, I think you want to sleep with me, Pennyworth. You know, like, And that's the appeal. It's like, oh, you actually like get to watch the movie as you play it. But that wasn't. I didn't ever fucking like that. I thought that was stupid.
I was playing through Driver 2 recently, like this week. Probably my favorite game on the original PlayStation. And the cutscenes in that game are like rendered from the game. Like they're not full video, like you're saying. World Is Not Enough was, or Tomorrow Never Dies. You said. And even that is just like unbearable. Like I can't watch it. Like it's just like this polygon figure like shaking its head back and forth and like dialogue playing over top, and it's. I imagine back when that game came out, it was like, this is fucking sick. It's like a movie.
Yeah, it was huge.
But today, I'm like, I'm just gonna skip all this. Like I don't care about this goddamn story. I don't know who Vasquez or Jericho are. Like fuck all this. Like I just want to play the missions. So yeah, maybe in the time. It was cool, but like it doesn't age very well. But the rest of the game is sweet.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff still holds up. Like I like Rue's idea there at the top of the episode about like coming out with new games for these old systems.
That'd be really cool.
Or these revamped old systems. That'd be awesome. Or like extensions of these games. Like let's say you like Driver 2, put out the new Driver. On the old retro, the revamped retro system. That'd be fucking awesome.
With that, I feel like it only works so far. Where
you're not putting out a new GTA on it. Right?
Yeah,
like,
no, I just mean like especially
GTA, like the original
basically,
one was sweet, though.
But PlayStation,
the overhead
PlayStation
view.
hasn't changed its format of the disc style game at all, like since they started, right? In 96, 94, whatever year you said that was. But I feel like N64 kind of, like you might be able to do it for that as well. But definitely Super Nintendo of just that style of video game that it's like they don't make it anymore. It'd be like if you decided to make an arcade style like box game stand up, joystick and stuff. Like you could, appeal to that retro. Where I feel like with PlayStation, because they still are now at like evolving that style of disc play. And that obviously is probably going to be what it is forever and always until the next big thing. But the cartridge,
say it's just going to go digital, right?
Yeah, I think this is the last generation.
The cartridge is done. The cartridge is done, right? So they don't do that anymore. So we know what was the peak of the cartridge, and like I say, even N64 was pretty good. But I have one of those, and I feel like even those games, like it's pretty primitive, the 3D style. Using the C buttons to control your camera
sucks.
It was like terrible. Now the PlayStation also like is weird that they haven't really evolved their controller since PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, really like that dual analog. Like
I like it.
It's
comfortable.
It feels pretty great.
Yeah,
it's all you need, really.
I'm a big fan of Xbox, but that was always a hold up for like the original Xbox. It's like this fucking controller's way too big,
clunky.
Yeah, and then they like first generation Xbox had the controller S and it got smaller. The 360 got smaller, and the Xbox One got smaller. And it's like, just admit that PlayStation fucking nailed it in 1994.
They fucking nailed it right away.
Yeah.
And like having the offset joysticks on the Xbox, I never really liked that.
No.
Like I like the PlayStation how it's down here. Yeah, they fucking nailed it.
Yeah, I don't know. The debate's out on that. I don't know how I feel.
You're not sold on the PlayStation controller?
It's not that I don't. It's that the placement of the D-pad and the joystick on the N64, on the Xbox, I feel like is just more natural when you're hitting, when you're using the actual controller.
Okay, I'm with you in that.
It's just
way. I guess
like you're using the outer sides and then you're coming into the middle when you need to, and that's where that because the D-pad, in my experience now, I play a lot of NHL online and I still play. Like, big shout out to my Vikings in the NHL realm. I'll see you in the halls of Valhalla.
Wow.
Yeah. But so we play pretty
Fucking
regularly,
dork.
and that was always. It just seemed weird the way that the joystick with the difference between. I was pretty hard on Xbox. I had Xbox 360 and an Xbox One, but then recently sold my Xbox One and got the PlayStation 4. Like, I jumped ship and went back to the PlayStation, and it was a game changer. But yeah, I'm the place. I think it's just PlayStation is like way better. All the games that they put out are so much like.
But the games are pretty much the same now, though. Like, thinking back, like, to
like
the PlayStation originally, like, when you picked a system, you were really selecting, like, what kind of games do you want to play.
Game titles.
There was not so much overlap. But now, aside from Spider-Man, like, there's not a lot of difference between PlayStation and Xbox.
Because the Grand Theft Auto originally came out on the PlayStation, right? And wasn't available for the Xbox for.
But that's not really But that's not really a thing anymore. But totally, I remember like when Xbox got Grand Theft Auto Vice City, they got the third one as well. Like they both came out after Vice City had come out on the PlayStation. I think San Andreas might have been the first one that they released across the board.
Yeah, across board.
Right,
yeah.
But I think just like. I don't know. Like, for me, it was either Halo on the Xbox or the show and that Spider-Man game are both more than enough to make me want to get the PlayStation.
And Halo is not what it was since Bungie left.
No. And even
talking to a guy that was like, fuck, and you too, Skylar, like, some of my best times in life were playing Halo 3. There was an easy year that all we did was play fucking Halo 3 every night for like 8 hours.
Every single night.
And it wasn't boring at all. It was fucking awesome.
No, and then get you guys out of the house.
No, it was the best thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I think of like, what's
Sunday
the best time in my life? It was like every single night when I was 24 years old and just going home from work to just play Halo 3 all night.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know what it was. It was just the most fun thing to do with, 3 friends, like Skylar and 2 other dudes, our cousin Will, shout out to Willie, and one other dude, Jimmy Brown. We just play Halo every single night, and it was so much fun to like make our team higher in the ranks and like go up level. Like, it was the best thing ever. And then the Halo franchise just like shit the bed right after 3, and we tried out of loyalty to play.
I thought you were gonna say, and then I got my dick sucked.
No. Yeah. This was a time when
and I lost
I
my
had full access
28.
to female companions, and I chose Halo over them.
made them sit there and watch.
And it ended a very important relationship of my life. But and there's no regrets. Halo 3 was really good.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No, of course not.
No regrets. But they shit the bed with every game since then. And like, out of loyalty, you try to buy them and be like, oh, it's still good. But after like 2 weeks, you're like, this game's not that fun. Halo 3 was perfect, though.
Yeah, it was. But even, I'm a late bloomer on them. But the Metal Gear Solid games on the PlayStation are pretty phenomenal.
Oh, they're stellar games, yeah.
Yeah. The latest one that came out, the Phantom Pain one, was really fucking cool. Just, open world mercenary dropped into it, and
I never
you have
played
to run your own armies.
I feel like I gave you that game.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
It came with a bundle that I got, and I was just like, there's no time for this. I have to play Fallout 4. You can have it.
Yeah.
And I just never played it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and like, Mike, I know you were into one of those Metal Gear Solid games.
Yeah, I can't remember which one, but it might have been for PS3.
PS2, I think.
There's a really good one too.
When you were in like high school and you had the PS2 then, and that was like, we used to play Hitman and all those weird, and Metal
There was
Gear
a really
of
good
them.
one. There was a really
Yeah.
good one. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember it, but I remember enjoying it for sure. Difficult
I
too,
believe
like
it was
challenging
called
game.
They're
like
hard games.
High Heat Baseball. We used to play.
Oh
I think
yeah,
that's
we
what-
fucking rocked the shit out of that baseball game. Just get stoned
Yeah.
in my nan's spare bedroom.
Yeah.
Play that fucking high heat baseball. Yeah.
A high heat. I think that's what it was called. I can't remember. And it was
Something
just
like
you-
that.
every
Yeah.
pitcher had 3 pitches, and every batter could either like hit for contact or slug. It
Oh,
was like
yeah. it was
Yeah.
for the fences every time.
it was like
Yeah.
that. It was like NFL Blitz. It was the same people that did NFL Blitz, but
Yeah.
they did this like MLB
Yeah,
high heat
fuck.
or something.
Something like that, yeah. Heat
Slugfest or something
Something,
stupid. And we used to crush it like
Yeah. Just get
hours
so
of our
fucking
life
stoned.
gone.
So fucking
Yeah.
stoned and just like and just
passing
dumb,
around.
Just
dumb
Yeah.
out on this game.
Just slug it.
Yeah, I even
Just
started selling
slugging.
weed, and I started selling weed in those days because you guys would all come over and smoke my weed, and it was like, well, I might as well buy a big bag so they can
Yeah.
buy their own.
It was like part of the deal. It was like,
Yeah.
you come over, buy a 20 bag, and throw fucking 9 innings of pitches
Yeah,
and get
Twice.
out,
Twice.
So you pay for, yeah.
yeah,
Get a good turn on your dollar.
Yeah. You to try the product, throw 9 innings, and get the fuck out.
yeah. You want to have a quick 9? Quick 9?
Yeah. You want to toss a couple?
I
Yeah.
remember in those days,
That
Mike,
was
like
fun.
I didn't see much of you. You were just like in your house always, but I'd get like reports from
Yeah.
Skylar, like what you're up to, and they're all video game related and so fucking technical. Like he'd be like, he found all the packages in Vice City. I'm like, damn. And then I'd be like playing.
Yeah, I went fucking balls out on that game.
I remember playing
Yeah.
Vice City one day, and Skylar was like, "Oh, you see that like ledge that runs down to the whole like road?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like Mike's done a Papa Wheelie down the whole thing. I was like, "What?" Like dumbass shit like that. It's like this fucking guy has nothing better to do than to treat Vice City like it's
Papa
fucking
Wheelie
Tony
down
Hawk.
this whole ledge.
Doing
Yeah,
fucking
no,
wheelies
yeah.
down.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I was hard
Manual
on
the
that.
whole thing.
Manual the whole curb.
Yeah. Regular old John Henry, eh?
Yeah, just be like, God damn, this guy can
fuck
play
that,
Vice
RJ.
City.
You can't talk shit. I remember like being at the cottage and you and our friend Oliver for
Wow, name drop.
playing fucking Wave Racer 64
We were
on
good
the
at that
Nintendo
game.
64, and you guys would just do the same level over and over and over and like make up new fucking tricks. Where
Nose
it was
kapowie.
like, this is like, I call this the Oliver twist. And it was like, Oliver's like patented half flip rotation out and like, and it was the same. I felt like fucking, Will Ferrell in Zoolander. Just like, it's the same move. Am I hanging out with a bunch of crazy people? Like, you're not doing anything. Like, there's the game you could do with like a barrel roll and a backflip. That's all you could do. And these guys would
Yeah,
do
yeah.
variations on like,
We had,
and
like-
then I landed it 180 style and
We run the
You know,
kaleidoscope
over
on options of
Yeah.
doing half a barrel roll,
Yeah.
then a backflip, and then finishing the barrel roll. We
Yeah.
fucking mastered
Yeah.
that game.
and to the point where you guys were doing like fucking like board slides on top of
On the
fucking
pirate
like,
ship.
on the ramps and stuff, and it's like these aren't moves. You're just like
You're
launching
losing the
your-
race.
launching
losing
your
the
guy off the ramps and smashing them into the boat and being like, "Oh, board slide!" Playing horse with one another and like being the old judge of just like, no, you weren't on there long enough for a board slide. That was more of a nose, bro. Like,
Oh,
fuck,
man.
okay, H.
You just kissed the rail,
Yeah.
dude.
Kiss the rail, yeah. Like, oh, fuck.
Life was so
Between
much
that and-
easier back then.
Life was
you
easier
know?
in
Yeah.
the fucking wave
Yeah.
race and Vice City days.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Before women came around.
Well, as this
Sure.
sidebar started, women were full around when I was balls deep in Halo 3.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Halo 3
Yeah.
won. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Halo 3 by Halo 3. Yeah. Oh man. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah,
Get to a fan question.
We got a fan question. Before that, we should do our patented Ask an Expert, because we totally didn't do Ask an Expert or fan question last week. We were just so, gung ho on Rancid's our favorite band, and then we just wrapped it up real quick. So
I don't think we do Ask an Expert on the top 5 shows, anyways.
Okay, so we didn't fuck up.
That's how I'll explain it.
We did
and
that.
You know what? Fuck you.
We did that on purpose.
Shit.
Well, I don't have a question, but I'll see. You guys ask yours, and I'll see.
I just wanted
Donald
to know,
Trump doesn't have to explain.
Your
I don't have to explain.
favorite PlayStation 1 memory, and I'll start. Because it lines up with last week's.
This guy fucking answers his own question.
Well, I just wanted to give you guys,
because I've been thinking about it all week.
I have been thinking about it all week, and it was the correlation lineup of Driver 2 and Rancid Out Come the Wolves, 1999 Christmas. I got both fucking things for Christmas. So whenever I play Driver 2, I just think of and Out Come the Wolves, because it was just on the stereo. Played Driver 2 relentlessly.
Cool.
And so I think of my favorite time on the PlayStation 1, it's fucking Driver 2, and it's because I guess Out Come the Wolves was just on full blast, 57th and Broadway, and just driving around.
Wow.
Running from
I'll
cops.
make it easy. My favorite PlayStation memory is when I glued it to my desk. That was definitely it, off the top of my head. But I really did like playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, and then later in life, years and years and years down, a handful of years anyways down the road, finding out that I like half the bands that were on that soundtrack.
Right.
And I still like them to this day.
For sure.
So that's
more than half.
You can't beat that.
The soundtrack was on
more than half. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Urban Legend says that Tony Hawk himself picked all those bands.
Picked that.
Those were all Tony's picks. And it's fuck.
Well, there's before Rancid started playing acoustic, there was this random half-hour clip on YouTube of them playing acoustic.
Yeah.
Before we'd ever heard it or ever seen it, before they did that tour where they closed half closed the night with that, they played a Tony Hawk's birthday party.
Really?
And they played all acoustic, and it's on YouTube somewhere.
Cool.
It's the first time I heard St. Mary's acoustic, and he must be pretty rad.
He's a cool fucking guy, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can hate on him for being rich and shit, but he got rich for being real as shit his whole life, and it finally came to him in his 40s.
Yeah.
He's gonna be the next concussion guy, though.
You think so? Yeah. He's gonna kill his wife and kids. Chris Benoit style.
Yeah, he's gonna Chris Benoit. Yeah.
Oh no.
The Rabid Wolverine and the Hawkman.
Oh. That's
I just think all that spinning is probably just as bad for your brain.
Too many 900s, yeah.
Too many 900s. Too many 900s.
Him and Elvis Stoico.
He Chris Benoit, him and Elvis.
Elvis Stoico, Canadian legend.
Browning.
Yeah. Kurt Browning and Elvis Stoico in a CTE off. From spinning.
Oh man.
They're just spun.
Fucking spun, dude.
Bro, you're all spun up. Too many triple axles.
Triple sound cows.
Triple sound cows. Triple lux.
So, Rue, what's your favorite PlayStation memory?
I don't know. I feel like mine is recent. Mine was making the jump from Xbox One back to PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
4. Yeah. It was a game changer. I have a mild. Here it comes, boys.
Ooh.
I'm gonna get dark and deep on you. Here it comes. I have a mild video game addiction problem.
Mild.
Yeah.
Mild.
Oh, we know, dude. We've known
Look
you your whole life.
We know.
Just screams video game addiction.
Yeah, that's what gives it away.
I fucking spent a cool 7 hours today in West Elizabeth just trading pelts.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
just it was. It
That's
was
what you
pretty
did with your
great.
day off, eh?
Yeah, I had the day off today at work and just.
Did you take the day off to do that?
To go to West Elizabeth?
Yeah. Did you ask
Yeah.
for this day off?
No, I took the days off because I had days and I wanted to take them. But it just coincidentally, this game is also out, and
Runs your
I
life.
know what I'm doing on my days off. Going to New Hanover and West Elizabeth. Yeah.
Like it's
Now, I haven't seen the new season of South Park, but I hear that they poke fun at the Red Dead.
the
pretty
new
steady.
season
Yeah.
is fucking hilarious.
And that's like I'm one of the adults in that show where it's just like don't give a fuck about anything, and I'm just playing Red Dead every spare moment. There was one night where me and the roommate it was like back towards Halloween, and we were crushing that Haunting on Hill House. I believe it was the show on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like we had 4 episodes to watch, and in between every episode, the roommate would get up and go to the washroom and get something to eat or get like a drink of water. And as soon as she left the room, I would just like click over to Red Dead, get a couple jackrabbit pelts. Shoot a couple hawks. And...
You'd hear her flush the toilet and you click back.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
The toilet would flush, depending on if it was a 1 or 2, there might be a splash of sink water. And-
That's the giveaway. She only wipes out
Yeah.
the sink water. Fucking 2.
Yeah, Yeah. Well, I don't know, but I can't hear the wipe.
Well,
But I only use sink water on it too.
yeah, but I feel like chicks use fucking sink water on both.
Yeah,
Generally.
well, that's her prerogative.
I don't know what kind of.
I'm usually I only really sink water on 2, but I also usually no matter what I do, 1 or 2, I just turn the tap on and splash it in my mouth anyways first.
It's all that dust
all over
from New
myself.
West Elizabeth.
Complimentary
Get that dust in
spit
your
on
mouth.
fucking water in my mouth, but I'll leave my hands dick wet.
Yeah.
A little complimentary drink for a good job emptying my bladder.
Yeah. I gotta rehydrate,
Yeah.
Lost fluids.
It's all about health, baby.
It's all about the health.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
long story short, buying my Xbox or my PlayStation 4 is my answer.
Like
I'm crying.
maybe 20 minutes ago, I was feeling 13% bad for myself, admitting my Halo 3 addiction ended one of the best relationships in my life. And then here we are, fucking 2018. Skylar's learned nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. He's fully embracing his mild addiction, he says.
Yeah, just mild addiction.
His mild addiction.
Well, it's mild because you still go to work most days, right?
Yeah, and you only play when she's shitting.
Yeah, when she's shitting. I only play when she's
Squeezing a cool 15 while she's squeezing out a cool 15.
I have a quick
like-
PlayStation 1 story that just totally came up randomly. I remember in high school, I was supposed to get my wisdom teeth out. I was 16, 17 years old. And it was right when Tony Hawk 3 came out, like I mentioned earlier, the last game we got on the original PlayStation. And I was saying to my buddy in art class, I got to get my wisdom teeth out this week, so I'm going to be gone all week. Peace.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sick with some wet, a wet mouth. And I'm going to play Tony Hawk 3 all week. And he
Learning
says
from
to
your
me, okay, dude, I got my wisdom teeth out a few months ago. Here's how you do it. And I'm intrigued. I'm what do you mean how you do it? You just lay there and get your teeth out. There's nothing to it. And he's okay, so they're going to put the breathing fucking deal on your nose, gas you the fuck out,
Yeah.
and then when the teeth are out and they're done, they switch the chemical reaction so it's not nitrogen, it's just oxygen. And you'll notice, when all 4 teeth are out, he's going to go fiddle with the knobs, and that's going to wake you up.
Yeah.
And I'm okay. And he's so stop breathing through your nose. Just breathe through your mouth. so that when your procedure's done, you're gonna be all fucked up for like the next 2 days.
On oxygen.
On the like nitrogen, the nitrous
Oh,
oxide.
on nitrogen.
Yeah, because the doctor's gonna fiddle with it and turn it back to
Yeah.
oxygen to like kind of wake you
That
up.
can kill you. That's like you giving yourself the bends, basically.
So I didn't know that. I fully
Yeah.
listened to him. You know,
I had a great time.
shout out to Rory in art class. And
Wow.
yeah, so I was no idea where I was after this procedure. I have to walk home. It's not far from the dentist to home, but I'm just like concentrating on like once I get home, I have Tony Hawk 3 and I'm going to spend the next week playing this game. And I remember like at the time like Skylar, the PlayStation was in your bedroom and I'm just like home like my operations at like 9 or 10 in the morning. You come home at like 4 and I just remember the look on your face when you walked in your room, like it was like walking in on the
You're
like, you know,
nude.
The Shining when the elevator opens, you're just horrified. And I'm like, what, man? Like, I don't get it. And then I go and look in the bathroom and like I had bled all over my mouth and my chest. Like my jeans were ruined. Like I had just been there bleeding for 6 hours out of my mouth.
Playing Tony Hawk.
It looked like I just
Oh,
bit the
man.
neck of a rabbit and then just went and sat down
Yeah.
and played Tony Hawk. Like I just bled all over my.
Dealt with it, yeah.
I'm just like, you know, 2 sheets to the wind. I have no idea what's going on. I'm still in the foundry. I've been in this game for hours, just running into the wall. Like I have no idea.
And that's just like the shitty PlayStation 1 version of
Yeah.
Tony Hawk 3. It wasn't even the good one.
No, I don't remember anything. I remember like getting the wisdom, like sitting down in the chair, and then I remember you coming home 6 hours later, and just being covered in blood, and my shirt's ruined, my pants are ruined. Still in the first level, like I haven't even got skate. Like I'm fucking losing it at SKA. Like I don't know what to do after that.
Wait, so they put you out for your wisdom teeth? Like what? The
No, I was
sick-ass
awake the
dentist
whole
that I
time.
had
They
fucking
just
kept
put-
me awake.
It was like they put like deals in my nose, and you just like breathe
Oh.
in the nitrogen.
Yeah, I didn't have
I didn't
that.
go out.
I didn't have that.
No?
No.
Yeah,
I just got frozen.
Yeah, totally. I was like, what piece of shit dentist did I fucking have?
They froze me, but
Yeah.
they also had like some deal in my nose to make it like laughing gassy.
Really?
But
Yeah, I
then
didn't have
I
that.
followed art.
I think that
art
was
class
called
in-
the dentist's cock.
It was not the dentist's cock. I was awake the whole time. Like I remember the sound of like he pretty much used
His
pliers
cock in
to
your
just
nose.
like break my teeth and then pick the pieces out.
This noise? Remember that noise?
I remember the
When I
sound
woke
of
up,
I
he was
remember the
putting
sound
his
of
shirt back
zippers
on.
going
It
up
was
and
really
down.
weird. All right, Mike, what's your question?
Well, I know they kind of come at different times in our lives, and I think the Xbox One was on par with PS2 when it came out. But like, as far as like
Not even
nostalgia,
close.
no.
No.
What's
No.
Xbox One? What's PS3?
I feel like the first Xbox.
Yeah, the very
was-
first one. That's the one.
okay.
That's the
Yeah,
the original.
Xbox One is actually like later.
The new
was
one,
after.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was
Yeah.
the third one.
Okay, well, like let's confuse this situation even more. The original Xbox.
There you
Like
go.
what like do you is it if you had to pick PlayStation 1 or Xbox? Like what stood out more in your lives? Like what
I think, like, to be honest, like I thought Xbox was pretty sweet. Like I was a big Xbox guy,
Xbox Live.
but it was also Xbox was a bit of a letdown for me.
Mm.
I feel like it was, you know, it's like the first wheel is pretty great, but
yeah.
as much as the first wheel is great, you kind of also need the axle to attach it to the 3 other wheels to make it worth its while, right?
That's not how it works, but yeah, I get what you're
But
saying.
you know, like, oh yeah, you build it's like the wheel's only so good, but
Yeah,
it's like what's gonna come next from this is what's gonna be cool.
So
but
like,
I also,
you're saying PlayStation left more of a mark on your life than the original Xbox.
And I also feel like the PlayStation was around for a long fucking time, like 96 to 2000.
94.
Like without competition.
Yeah.
Without and like,
Any
but now
real
it seems like
competition.
every 2 or 3 years they put out a new fucking console.
Yeah.
I don't know, and that
Yeah.
first PlayStation between your Crash Bandicoots, like Tony Hawk was a series
changer.
that went forever.
Oh,
and
huge.
we didn't even touch on it because I always thought that it was stupid and like the worst fucking thing ever. But the Final Fantasy, like those games were
Oh yeah, I hated
I
that.
never played one in
PlayStation
my life.
only, and
Yeah.
they were huge.
They're huge.
They were huge,
Right?
but
Like-
I don't have any time.
They
for
might have
that.
been Super Nintendo to start.
Yeah,
I feel like there was
that was
Final
the big coup that they started on Nintendo, and then when Sony started, they
Ooh, like
reached out
Vancouver.
and got
yeah.
the coup city. That was the big coup. They
The
got
coup
Konami and Capcom and all these other big Japanese
Yeah.
developers to flip over to Sony. And yeah, like
Okay,
whatever it was, Final Fantasy VII or some shit was on like PlayStation. And that was a big deal.
I want to change.
Yeah.
I want to change my question. I want to go to my original route of thinking most weeks, and I'm gonna do a fuck, marry, kill.
Okay.
Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation. That's where we're going. Yeah, fuck, marry, kill.
That's really hard.
Well, do it.
I
bitch.
think I'd kill PlayStation. I don't have a lot of loyalty. Like I had a PlayStation
Kill
1. I think
PlayStation.
that was the only system.
Yeah.
I think so. I would kill PlayStation. I fuck with Nintendo, but I'd marry Xbox. I feel like, you know, from Xbox One original, whatever the hell we just agreed it was called, to
Yeah,
Xbox One, like that had to have been like 15 years. Like 2001 to maybe
Probably, yeah.
2014, 15.
Yeah.
Like I was pretty like balls deep on Xbox. Like Skylar said, Xbox, the original one, besides Halo, like I can't remember any games we played. There was like a snowboarding game we liked. But it was the introduction to Xbox Live. Like Halo 2 was on the original Xbox. It was a live, and that was like life changing
Yeah.
to play with some random
live
fucking people on the internet,
versions, yeah.
talk shit before every game, beat them, talk even
Yeah.
more shit, be the worst winners.
But with
Yeah.
that said, I feel like it kind of comes back to my wheel analogy, where as like I totally forgot that Xbox Live was a thing on the original Xbox. Like Halo 2 was kind of
I
one
never-
of the
never
launch
used it.
title,
Yeah, it was.
right? But I feel like the actual online, like that was like the pioneer, you know,
Yeah.
Santa Maria of the fucking online thing. That like where we are now online is totally just
Oh,
like
yeah.
everything is on.
World
Like
apart.
I basically don't, like we were talking about it, I don't buy discs anymore. I just download games. Like that's all online. I see where you're saying that was like the beginning of it, just as the PlayStation was the beginning of the disc era. Remember too, like their discs were black on the bottom.
Yep.
I always thought that was weird. Wasn't the shiny, cool, reflective surface.
I think that might have been something
Ah.
to do with piracy. Who knows?
Yeah. But I guess, Mike, to answer your question, I would marry Nintendo because it's very wholesome, and I think it would be very good with children. I
yeah.
would fuck PlayStation because, like, of Resident Evil. That's, like, you know, that's just some weird shit. That's, like, the seedy underbelly, like, you know, we're gonna get weird, me and PlayStation.
No condom.
And I would kill Xbox because I think it's too aggressive with the tray coming out at you.
Yeah.
Back off,
and the red
Xbox.
light, the red light of death.
The ring of death, yeah.
I forgot about the ring
Yeah.
ring.
That was 360, but I remember, like, I have a funny story where my roommate she likes change, and she likes variety is the spice of life, she says. So we went through this weird fucking
I'm a
phase
salt
where,
man. I prefer salt.
Does she say that for
Every-
real? Do you have that in quote?
Sometimes.
Is that in quote form
Yeah.
on the wall in the kitchen?
Yeah. Live, life, laugh, and variety.
Spice of life.
It's the spice of life. But I used to come home to, like, she would fucking move our, like, entire living room around, like, move couches and TVs and stuff. And it was just like, you know, when you come home from a long day of work, you're just like, I just want to not come home to my living room completely moved around. But she stopped doing it because one time she did it, she knocked my Xbox 360 and then went to use it later. Like, after she moved everything, she went to watch Netflix and got red ringed out and couldn't turn it on. And she thought that she broke my Xbox and, like, looked it up online, and it was like 4 hours of her life. She said, I'm just sitting there, like, when I get home, like, he's gonna kill me. He's gonna fucking kill me. Yeah. But
he's
it was
mildly
like,
addicted. He's gonna kill me.
Yeah, mildly addicted, but he will fucking kill me. Yeah. But she had just, like, dislodged it. It comes with the box, I guess, so you don't get, like, power surged.
Yeah.
She just dislodged it from that so it wouldn't turn on. But it was, like, you know, such an Arrested Development moment of, like, that's why you always leave a note, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, that's why you don't touch my shit. Like, just let her. And even when I got home and she told it to me, like, I let her sweat, where, like, I, like, got on my phone and, like, started looking up Xbox stuff, like, what's a boy to do, like, what's my warranty.
And you knew full well.
Oh, I knew full well what she had done to it, but it was just like, bitch.
Oh no.
I feel like
move my living room around.
On that original Xbox 360, I definitely got like 2 or 3 red rings of death and had to send it back in for warranty and.
Yeah,
fucking
I definitely sent
garbage console. Like,
I never had the 360.
Yeah, it was shit. And that was at my full addiction, so it was like the worst. Yeah. The absolute worst.
Yeah.
My question for the experts this week is just, what's your favorite PlayStation game? And why?
It's got to be Tony Hawk 2.
Tony Hawk?
Yeah.
I like Tony Hawk 1.
1?
It's the original, for sure, yeah. That soundtrack,
Number 2 had manuals, though.
Soundtrack.
Tony 2 had a fucking sick soundtrack, too, though.
Yeah, they're all good. But it's just that original nostalgia, you know.
Yep.
Like,
for me, though, like, I started
time.
skateboarding before Tony Hawk came out, like in 95, 96. And then started to, like, wane off it. And Tony Hawk 1 came out, and it's like, okay, this is cool. But then Tony Hawk 2 came out, and it was so fucking good that's when I got really back into skateboarding. And I feel like, Skylar, that's when you started skateboarding. Like, it was just something about that game that made skateboarding so accessible and fun and
approachable.
They really nailed, like,
exciting.
The part of skateboarding that fucking sucks but is also awesome at the same time is all the brands and the companies. And Tony Hawk 2 had the, like, put your deck with your trucks and your wheels and your t-shirt and all that fucking bullshit, which is like capitalist scum nonsense, but is also,
but as a kid,
when you're a kid and you're like 12, you're like, oh, I'm Jeff Rowley, I got a flip shirt, I got the Fury trucks, I got this, and it's like, this is fucking sick. I'm gonna go to the skateboard shop and buy the Rodney Mullen Enjoy deck that's in the video game. Like, I feel like Tony Hawk 2 really started the resurgence of, maybe that was like 2000, like skateboarding like really came back and reignited it for me. And Tony Hawk 2 was like, for me, like, just like, this game is fucking sick.
Yeah, it was a rad game. It was, yeah. I just, number 1 is
number
it's just
1
because
was also,
it's number 1. Yeah, but they're all good. To 3,
Yeah, definitely solid series.
To this day, I watch skateboarding videos regularly, and I'm just like, oh, that's the, you know, this level from Tony Hawk. Like, it's fucking so sick.
When I break it, like, honestly, like, PlayStation, Tony Hawk, Driver was sick. But I really, this is the, like, I don't know, like, I shouted out my boys on the Vikings earlier, but I do still buy the NHL games.
Yeah.
A lot. Like, every year. I'm a sucker. I spend $70 on the new NHL game. And it's the same game. But this year they added broken sticks. You know, like, it's just like
one thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you know, and there's new jerseys, and it's the same fucking game every year, but I buy it every fucking year, and I'm a sucker
Little
for
tiny
it, so.
updates. Yeah, I mean,
I'm
I understand that. Like the NHL games from as far back as Sega.
Yeah,
were
oh, for
fucking,
sure.
Like the games
NHL
to play. I
94
stay up all
was the
night.
fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
NHL 95 had
NHL
trades.
94, like
94 was the shit, but 95 with
Yeah.
the trades, and you just make the Maple Leafs
Yeah.
the best team in the fucking world. Put
Yeah,
Fedorov and
Gretzky.
everybody, Gretzky, Fedorov, Lemieux, all on
Yeah.
NHL 94. Like,
yeah. See, it's
Yeah.
interesting because like when you were saying earlier about like Jeff Rowley or you know I want to be Jeff Rowley and I got the flip this and like the Spitfire wheels. And, like, it's no different than you buying a fucking, like, Mitch Marner Toronto Maple Leaf
it's the
jersey.
same deal.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's the same, like, you want to emulate
Is that a real
person.
guy? Is that a real guy? Like, I'm so out of it.
Magic Mitch Marner.
Like, please
Wow.
keep your hockey
And he's got a
references to the
nickname?
90s the same way you've kept your skateboarding references to Les's Steamer and her 2-set. Like, if you're going to mention, like, hockey, like, keep it to Ray Bork and Ally Afraidy, please.
All right.
Dominic Hasek.
Yeah.
Theo
Stacking
Fleury,
the pads
right,
like
right,
Hasek.
yeah.
Yeah. What's a Wendell
Keep it
Clark
cool,
and his bitch?
back to cool, yeah.
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 Magic Mitch Marner, though.
Fucking Eric Lindros and his soft head.
Yeah. Soft
And his
head
brother,
Eric.
the other Lindros with his soft head.
Have you guys ever seen the video? Have you ever seen the video of fucking Mike Madonna getting laid out and then they put him on the stretcher and they drop him WWF style?
No.
I think I have. Yeah, I think I have. He's
It's like
Dallas
he
Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, you know, like they put him in the stretcher and they're taking him off because he got hit. And as they're loading him into the ambulance, they totally just fucking, like, the whole stretcher flips over, drops. And it looks like Vince McMahon comes out and elbow drops him. Like, it's so bad. And it's, like, real life, right? Like,
Yeah.
this actually happened. Too good.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, this was a great episode. A lot of good
Well,
laughs
we're not
at the
done
end.
yet.
We
Last
still have
one.
a fan
We got,
question.
Oh yeah,
we got our fan
Let me
question.
load it up. This is
Not gonna
Yeah.
forget this week.
our number
Yeah.
1, number 2, number 3. There's 3 people that are in the top 3 of fans.
Yeah.
But this is from Brian again from Toronto. 2 weeks in a row because we
Wow.
totally forgot to do it
2
last week.
weeks in a row.
And it is super relatable to this episode by total fluke. But he says, Brian from Toronto, with the positive fan reaction to the new Detective Pikachu trailer, what video game franchise would the experts like to see turned into a movie?
I don't know. I didn't understand half of that. Like, how fucking old am I? What did you just say?
With the positive fan reaction to Detective Pikachu, so there's a movie out called
Starring
Detective
Ryan
Pikachu.
Reynolds.
Oh,
I can't speak.
okay.
I've had like
Pikachu.
6 beers and a
A
bottle of
whole
wine.
bottle of wine. Yeah.
The positive fan reaction to Detective Pikachu trailer, which is a movie based on a video game. What video game franchise would the experts like to see turned into a movie?
I think you should read that question one more time.
Yeah, one more time, please. Listen,
No,
listen.
I
Hubley,
think,
you're a great dude, but fuck you.
And this is just recency bias, but and I'll use it as like a half whatever. I think you got to go Red Dead Redemption and or
That'd be
Grand
sweet.
Theft Auto. I feel like they're both one and the same. Like
I'd like to see Red
you
Dead.
can pick
'cause
one
I'm
and
a-
it'd be the same movie, just different time period, right?
I'm a
I
sucker
would
for a
love
western.
to see a Vice City movie,
know?
but how different would that be than like Scarface?
Yeah, no, you're totally
Oh,
right.
yeah.
The basically too because all those movies are based off of or games are based off of different movies, whether it's Boys in the Hood or
Yeah,
Scarface or
Yeah.
I would.
I don't know what that other one was based off. Coming to America. I don't know.
Which one was based off Congo? Which one had Eddie Murphy working at McDowell's?
I was thinking number 4 with Nico.
That was like the Perfect Strangers episode. Grand Theft Auto.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh fuck! Or like, yeah. Coming to America. American Graffiti. You know that one. I think one of those two. Like that's. I think naturally you can make some sort of cool franchise. Are we talking like Hollywood Marvel Universe?
Like if they're just gonna grab a video game and make a movie, I would still love to see a good Mortal Kombat. Like I remember, maybe it was like 5 or 6 years ago, they had those like realistic Mortal Kombat trailers. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
And like Reptile was like some like severely deformed person with his skin was inside out or something, and it was like, oh, here's a really gritty DC Universe style Mortal Kombat.
This was like when The Dark Knight had come out, right? And everybody was like, we're gonna make it go dark and gritty and realistic,
like
opposed
the real,
to
scrap all that NetherRealm bullshit and just go for like what would those characters look like in the real world. Like they're all just assassins and ninja experts, whatever the fuck that is, but give like a Dark Knight approach. Like what is the realistic version of Reptile? And it'd be like he's like a circus freak with his skin inside out. Like that would be a cool movie. Paperboy would be a cool movie.
Paperboy would turn into some weird fucking like
Paperboy.
You know, Paperboy. It would be like a hot wife scenario where like Paperboy rolls up on the house where the wife just wants to get fucked.
It could be like a Liam Neeson murder mystery type of thing.
He could be a driver.
Yeah. Liam Neeson would definitely be involved. And it would be like speaking through the mail slot, like, I don't know who you are, and I don't, but you don't, you know, I have a certain set of skills. Dude, I'm just a paper boy. I'm gonna find you.
Listen carefully.
Paperboy.
That
was a great game. I loved that Paperboy game.
Yeah, Liam Neeson's in a movie now where he's like is a fucking snowplow driver out for revenge. Like,
of course, no one else can play
I'm not even
role.
making that up. It's real life. Like that's just what that guy does. Ever since his wife died on that Montreal ski hill, he's just like, let's do every movie imaginable about having revenge
involving
or someone being missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wolf movie was sick. Yeah, he couldn't save his wife. So yeah, he's working that out.
You better fight some wolves.
The Grey? Or
the Grey.
The Grey, yeah.
Yeah, that was filmed in Smithers.
Your favorite.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
It was a great movie.
So, Mike, what's your answer to the question?
Yeah,
what was it?
What
movie?
What video game you want to see a movie made out of? Skylar said Grand Theft Auto. I said
I like the idea of Red
Dead.
You said Paperboy. I think my internet dropped there.
Paperboy, yeah.
Okay, I came back to that. I like the idea of Red Dead because I'm a sucker for a Western.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, like Westerns are typically cliche, but it doesn't have to be. It could be John Marston and fucking...
I feel like those movies have been done so much, though. Like, I'm trying to, I feel like I've had 2 weeks to think about this.
But they're getting better.
Have you seen...
Westerns are getting so much better.
There's one that came out maybe 3 years ago called Hell or High Water, and it was fucking awesome. I loved it.
No, it sounds
It's like
familiar.
a modern Western, and there's a bank robbery. It was so good. I fucking loved it. But my roommate at the time hated it. She was like, Westerns are fucking racist as shit. Like, I can't watch these movies. Like, I'm so miserable.
There's an undertone.
But it's
definitely... It's set in the 1800s.
Yeah. This movie is, more contemporary.
Racist,
but they're still, shooting
the
Mexicans and stuff. And she's just like, I can't fucking do these movies. Fine. Whatever. But I loved it. Fucking Hell or High Water is sick.
Or even that, there was that... I don't really remember the game, but there was that before Red Dead. There was that game called Gun.
I don't remember Gun.
And it was fucking awesome. And it's like you got like the what is it in Red Dead, the Dead Eye or whatever, where it slows down. Like that was huge, and that was a big part of that game too, where you got you're in like a fucking duel.
Yeah.
and you got your it would slow down and you could fucking. Yeah, I don't know. I just love Western theme. Anything. There's that new movie on Netflix, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and it's like 4, 5, 6 parts, and it's my all-time favorite movie.
Right.
Easy.
Really? I watched it the other night, and it was weird.
I loved it.
The one part with the guy with no arms and legs, it went on for so long.
Yeah,
Just
super.
like, oh my
super
god,
weird.
just throw this guy in the river already.
and then he did.
Yeah,
Spoiler
basically,
alert.
Yeah, spoiler
Yeah.
alert. Liam Neeson.
Liam
Neeson. Yeah.
laying
Yeah,
face
no,
down in
I'm
the
a sucker
snow.
for a good Western.
Yeah.
I mean,
Speaking of
Yeah,
Liam
that's-
Neeson, I could see a Fallout 3 movie.
With
Yeah.
Liam Neeson.
He was the dad in.
against-
He was the dad in that movie, in that game.
okay.
Think so?
He was
Which
100%.
one? There's been so many Fallout
Fallout
games. I don't
3.
even
Fallout
remember.
3. He was like
Yeah,
the
I've
dad
never
that you're
played
like
one, but-
looking for.
I
Oh,
don't
okay.
remember that.
Fallout
one.
3 was pretty sick.
Fallout 3.
I love the Fallout.
I
What was
never
the
got
last?
hard
No, I
into
remember.
those,
I
but-
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 is sick.
Skyrim. They blend.
Yeah. Speaking of video game addictions, speaking of, even though we're fucking 90 minutes into this show, I remember like being so fucking dick hard, balls deep, whatever sexual analogy you want to apply to video games on the
Okay.
like Skyrim,
Wet anal.
the Elder Scrolls series, like Morrowind, all those games. Like I got in like day one. Skylar can testify. I was deep in Morrowind 3, like way back in the day before it was cool.
Testify.
Testify. I fucking spent so much time on
Sims House
goddamn
Party.
Morrowind and what was Morrowind? What was Elder Scrolls 4 called?
I don't know.
Or-
The fucking
yeah.
search for your virginity.
Yeah,
I knew you were going there. I knew.
those two games I was so hard on, and then Skyrim came out, and I knew better. I'm like, I cannot buy this game because I'm like 26 years old. I'm going back to school. I'm going to university. It's my first year. And if Oblivion, that's a game. If I play fucking Skyrim
yes.
the same amount of times I played goddamn Morrowind and Oblivion, I will fail university. So I like purposefully didn't bring my Xbox 360 to like the house or anything. I'm like, I can't be tempted. I know that if I get that game, I will not do any goddamn homework. And my roommate that I shared a wall with was not so wise, and he just played Skyrim every fucking day, and you know, we'd have breakfast together and shit, and he'd talk about like, oh, I just fought the dragons, I got this magic book and this sword, and I'm like listening with like an open mouth, like that sounds so fucking cool, but I can't do that because I will fail. And sure enough, he failed. He flunked out of university.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Josh. He didn't make it.
Fucking Skyrim.
Yeah.
Your friend
Yeah, I never
died.
got
No,
because he
I
played too
mean
much
like his
Skyrim.
university his life.
Rest in peace.
His
yeah.
university
Yeah.
life died. He flunked out of school and never heard from again. I'm sure he's fine somewhere in the world.
As far as his parents are concerned, he might as well be
Yeah,
dead.
but like
Remember when you used to like play The Sims and like molest kids?
I never molested the kids. That's not a thing.
Because it wouldn't let you. Wouldn't
Couldn't
prompt
let me.
you.
I remember like full on like trying to
I
find.
remember you were like the politician, like president of Simville, but you had like a secret love affair with little Timmy down the street.
Why are you like fucking painting me as a Sims molester right now?
I'm not.
I
you know,
full
call
like
a
will
spade a
admit
spade.
that I had like a murder room in my Sims house that I would just like, you know, delete the door and set the room
Murder
on fire
room.
so
Tell
that
the truth,
I could have a
Stephen
full
Avery.
backyard of tombstones. I
Where
do.
was the rap for?
I do remember because when someone would get in a shower in The Sims, they would like blur it out like, oh, they're naked. So I'd like try to find a way to like pause the game, move the shower unit over, and see what they looked like. Tried to get pervy, but it wouldn't take.
I do remember too. You had like literally like a room where you would lure people into it with it, and it was just full of like couches and
Is
chairs.
this turned into an intervention?
Yeah, intervention.
Oh, man.
And it had a fireplace.
Yep.
And you would like bring the whole town
Sim's house party. Invite everybody
by
over.
train.
We talked about Sim's house party. You call everybody on the phone. Bring the Johnsons. Bring the Thompsons.
House party!
Smith, come on over. Bring the kids.
Not provide a fire exit for the people at the house party.
Burn it down.
Yeah, just a fire violation.
You pretty much put everybody in the room. Put as much furniture near the fireplace as you could. Then you delete the door, so it's just like a square room. And inevitably, the like couch would catch fire, and the whole house would burn down. There's no door, and you just murder everybody.
Yeah. I know, like, and you know what? That's not even the sickest part. The sickest part was like you would straight up create new homes and families for the soul, and like play out those lives and make connections with other Simville people. For the sole purpose of, like, you're going to end up at Gary's fucking incinerary.
I wanted Gary's house to have a full graveyard in the backyard, just full of tombstones.
Oh, man.
You had, like, a whole community built around an Auschwitz.
I had
basically.
an Auschwitz-style house in the backyard, yes. The crematorium.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Just
the crematorium.
a room full of
like,
wicker.
all these people thought, like, we're going
And
to the
a
house
train?
party.
You had a train going to
There
it
was
as well?
a train. There was a promise of showers and hot meals.
Oh, no. You will see your family.
Yeah.
You'll get
Do you
new
know what?
identity
You know what
cards.
Anne Frank's last entry into her journal was?
What's that?
House party.
Bread and crackers for everybody.
It's the most fun. Well, I was just gonna say, like, that was a long train ride. I really need a shower. Yeah.
On that note.
On that note,
Thank you, Brian.
Frontline Fiesta.
Frontline Fiesta.
Yeah.
Send your questions.
Keep sending those questions.
Yeah, ask an
keep sending 'em.
expert at gmail.com. No, what is it? What's the fucking email?
Pretty much
email. At Gmail.
Or just don't send them and let Brian send them, and we'll just answer
fucking
Brian's questions.
killing it with
every week.
sick questions.
Yeah.
Brian,
keep 'em
send
coming.
in a new
Questions.
question next week. Dennis, we'd love to hear from you again, even though your fucking question was stupid as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right back.
Right?
No follow up.
Fuck off,
Yeah.
Dennis, but send in a new question. We need we need more show. Pretty much email at gmail.com. Listen to Frontline Fiesta. Fucking sick band.
Yep.
We're going to play Living on the Brink, or what's it called? Just The Brink. The Brink right after this break. Mike with his pin. Skylar with his fucking
With
weird
his
nipples.
Chest. With his chest.
Really,
Chest hair shaved.
they're fucking really spaced
out for the
apart for
boys.
some reason.
Yeah.
Hard cocks.
They're in the place
Hard
where
cuts.
you would think a third nipple would
Lot of-
exist, but those are his regular nipples.
They're high.
Fucking walleyes.
High and wide.
High
and wide.
porky.
We are
So hard they're hurtful.
we're pretty much experts, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, God. That was fun. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in this week. We are Pretty Much Experts. You can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. While you're at it, go have a look at our Facebook page. You can ask an expert any time of day or night, whatever you like. And if you're into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We want to hear from you, baby. Thanks again, everybody. Tune in next week. We are Pretty Much Experts, and we love you, I guess.